Dr. Lund.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the West Michigan Vaccine Clinic at DeVos Place. And a special welcome to Senator Peters. It was an honor to give him a tour of our fantastic clinic here at DeVos Place. And I want to thank him for all the extraordinary work that he has done to be a champion of public health and champion of this clinic. Much appreciated. It's been a tough year for all of us here in Kent County and around the world. Here locally, we have had over 65,000 diagnosed cases of COVID-19 during the course of the past year. That's about 10% of our Kent County population, and that's just the diagnosed cases. And we've had at least 713 deaths here in Kent County. Family members, neighbors, friends, coworkers. It's been an awful year along those lines, and right now, let's not lose sight of the fact that we have people fighting hard in our hospitals at this moment, many in intensive care. So we are still very much in the midst of this pandemic. However, in the midst of this pandemic, there's also hope, and that's what this site symbolizes, as is hope. And in many days, this location, when it is flowing with people coming to get this precious vaccine, truly is the happiest place in West Michigan, and it's been an honor to be part of this amazing clinic. And this clinic, let there be no mistake about it, has been spectacularly successful. It has been probably the most successful clinic in the United States, the most successful that I'm aware of. During the midst of the challenges of December and January, when we were receiving this vaccine, we're in the middle of winter. Drive-through sites didn't work all that well in other locations, so we had this challenge of how do we move vaccine safely and quickly to our community. Thankfully, and I am so thankful, that we have tremendous partners here in West Michigan. The Kent County Health Department came together with Spectrum Health and Mercy Health St. Mary's, the Michigan National Guard, and so many other partners over the course of the past few months to make this happen. And it's just been extraordinarily successful, and we've had the support of elected officials like Senator Peters, like Chair Mandy Bolter of our Kent County Board of Commissioners, and so many others who have made this possible in our community. To date, 44% of eligible Kent County residents are fully vaccinated. 44% in just a few months. That's extraordinary. 55% of eligible Kent County residents are at least partially vaccinated. These are several percentage points above state and national averages, and we're very, very proud of that for the people of Kent County and West Michigan. But to be clear, our work is not done. And I want to thank everyone who has been vaccinated to date. Their work is not done either. And so I want to encourage everyone who has been vaccinated. Your work's not done, please go and find someone else. A family member, a neighbor, maybe a coworker. Tell them why you got vaccinated. Make that case and help them find their way to this clinic or one like it in our community. It's very important that we get as many vaccinated as quickly as possible. This is all about working together, and we're thankful to have so many community members working together with us. And I'm thankful to have Senator Peters working with us, our elected officials, so many other organizations, including Mercy Health St. Mary's and Spectrum Health. And it's my honor now to introduce one of our great teammates here in Kent County, the CEO of Spectrum Health, Tina Friestecker. Tina?
Good morning. Thank you, Dr. London, for your partnership throughout this pandemic. It's truly been wonderful to work with Kent County Health Department and Mercy Health and many other partners in our community to help us vaccinate our community. We really do appreciate all of that partnership. And thank you, Senator Peters, for your leadership at the federal level and for being here with your wife in Grand Rapids today. We also appreciate you working with FEMA and the Department of Defense to help us provide the resources and to provide the ability of 150 personnel to join our efforts. What this allowed us to do was to help move some of our team members back to the hospital and the clinics to take care of our patients. I do want to thank all of the military for all your hard work in helping with the vaccine, as well as for your service to the country. It truly has been meaningful and wonderful to meet everyone. At Spectrum Health, our mission is to improve health, inspire hope, and save lives. And we have all been impacted by this virus in some way, whether it's getting sick or having long-term COVID impact, whether it is seeing someone in the hospital or unfortunately having someone pass away, or the mental health and trauma experiences from this pandemic, or just complying with the safety precautions and the restrictions that we have today. This vaccine is the best way to combat this virus. It is safe and it is effective. And so I urge everyone to get vaccinated because it has and it will save lives. And there are people who today cannot get the vaccine, whether it's for a medical reason, a religious reason, or because the vaccine is not authorized for those under the age of 16 today. We are very hopeful here in West Michigan that this is our last surge, thanks in part because people are practicing the safety precautions and because they are getting the vaccine. Through our collaboration with Kent County and with Mercy Health, here at the West Michigan Vaccination Clinic, we've provided over 200,000 vaccine doses. And if you combine that with other Spectrum Health locations, we've provided over 400,000 vaccine doses. So we are incredibly proud of all the healthcare team members and many others who have come together to help vaccinate our community. And I appreciate all of our community partners, employers, schools, members of our community who have worked together to educate, to connect with community members to make sure we can get this vaccine to everyone. And so thank you again, Senator Peters, for being here with us today, and now I'll turn it over to you.
Well, thank you, Tina. Dr. London, thank you for all the work that you're doing here and everybody that's a part of this just amazing effort to walk in the door and to see the organization that was put together, the volunteers, the men and women from the Department of Defense, all the trained clinicians that are here. It's really an incredibly impressive to see. And as mentioned, we've been in this horrible pandemic for far too long. All of us want this to be over with months ago, not now. We still have a ways to go, and it's certainly been incredibly challenging. But in challenging times in this country, we always see Americans stepping up and doing their part to make a difference, and it's no exception here in the greater Grand Rapids area. When I see everybody coming together, all of the organizations that have been mentioned, the countless volunteers that spend hours and hours volunteering to make sure that they're in a position to help their neighbors and their friends. It is really a testament to this community in stepping up to deal with this crisis. We are certainly thankful for the men and women of the Department of Defense and others that are part of the effort with FEMA. I've worked on this effort. I chair Senate Homeland Security and Government Affairs Committee. I oversee FEMA. Part of the rescue plan that passed Congress recently was to put about $50 billion into additional resources to help local community efforts, to have FEMA engaged, to make sure that we have the resources to get this shot in as many arms as possible, as quickly as possible. We know that the only way we really get through this pandemic is to get as many people as possible vaccinated. And that's why it's critically important that we do that quickly, not just to protect the individuals immediately, because those individuals immediately have protection, but all of their family and friends and loved ones and other folks in the community are protected. But we also know we're in a race, and certainly Dr. London can speak about this a whole lot more informative than I can. But we're in a race with variants, and that's why it's just so important that people get vaccinated quickly, because basically if you aren't, you're basically a test tube for the virus to get into your body and do what viruses do. They naturally mutate. And if we have variants, then we're going to be in a longer slog than any of us would like. It's why it's so important that we put that level of protection in each and every individual as quickly as possible. And that was the reason for this mass vaccination site. The good news is that eventually, in a not too distant future, this site will close down. And I say the good news, not that it's closing down. The good news is the fact that now there's so many places where you can get the vaccine close to your home, just a few miles away. There are more and more places that have the vaccine, and the vaccine is readily available. You know, we're blessed here in Michigan to actually have the manufacturing plant that's producing the Pfizer vaccine, their facility, not far from this location in Portage, Michigan. And we're seeing the power of American manufacturing as the number of vaccines that they're producing is going up exponentially, it seems, on a regular basis. When I was there a couple months ago at the factory with President Biden, at that time, I think they were producing 5 million doses a week. Now they're producing well over 15 million doses a week, and you're going to continue to see that ramp up, so the vaccine's available. There are now locations everywhere across Michigan and across the greater Grand Rapids area to get the shot. So all of that has been put in place, and now it's up to each and every one of us to actually get out there and get that vaccine, to protect ourselves, our families, and the greater community from variants that may continue to arise as well. So it's wonderful for me to be here to see this community effort. We're going to continue to work closely as a community to figure this out. I was also discussing folks that in my committee, we are going to be doing a kind of a deep dive analysis into what happened during this pandemic, how we were prepared or not prepared to deal with a pandemic of the magnitude that we've seen right here. We're going to do this in a nonpartisan way, not looking to point fingers, but also wanting to make sure we know what went right and what went wrong so that we are in a better position to deal with a future pandemic. We know that pandemics are part of human existence. We know that pandemics will come back. I hope they don't come back for another 100 years or more like we had the last one, God willing. But they may come back sooner, and we have to make sure that we've learned from what we have gone through to make sure that we do a whole lot better next time to be prepared. But as we continue to move forward, our communities will continue to work together. And then we've got to get to the next phase of dealing with this pandemic, which is the economic fallout. Make sure our businesses can come back and be strong and vibrant. That's why help for small businesses was so critical. Help for families to keep food on the table, a roof over their head to get reemployed. All of that will be coming, and the rescue plan is working on all of those areas. But as important as that is, we have to remember this is first and foremost a public health crisis, first and foremost. And the work that's being done here, day in and day out, will get us to the other side. So it's an honor to be here. Thank you for the two of you and all of your incredible teams and all of the volunteers for the incredible work that they have been doing to make a difference for us here in Michigan. Thank you. So if you have questions for me or my two guests here, if you want to maybe come up, we'll just stand here and keep our mask on. Yes, sir. Well, there's no question that is a challenge. I'm going to have, Dr. I'll have you talk when I say a few words about hesitancy, perhaps, and work on that. But from a federal government perspective, we do have resources to make sure that we have public education campaigns for folks to see that the vaccine is safe, it is highly effective, and we need to have folks get this vaccine for us to get to the other side of the pandemic. But it's important when we do that public relations is people see folks just like themselves who are coming here, folks who are in line, getting the vaccine, the sense of relief that people get when they have the vaccine as well, because that they know now that they're protected and their loved ones are protected. And just make sure that we are kind of countering some of the misinformation that's out there about potential reactions, which is not accurate. I'm going to have the expert talking about that as opposed to me. But that's what we are going to do, is continue to make sure we are providing support for public relations campaigns so that folks know the facts. If you know the facts about the vaccine, people are going to be more likely to get the vaccine. They know how important it is. They know it's safe. They know it's effective. But I think it's very important for you to hear from someone who's an expert in this area.
Thank you, Senator Peters. And thank you for the question. It's an excellent question, and it really speaks to our great public health challenge in this moment, which is hesitancy. We know that about 70% of the population has reported they're willing to get vaccinated, and about 55% have already expressed that commitment with vaccine. So we have a remaining 15 to 20% of the population that is willing to get vaccinated, but they may not be highly motivated to go somewhere and to take special steps or to expend time or energy to get vaccinated. They may have concerns. There are a number of reasons why people may be hesitant. They may be concerned about some of the side effects. They may be concerned about things they've heard through unreputable sources. They may be scared of needles. There may be any number of reasons why people are hesitant. So what Senator Peters communicated from the federal perspective is highly useful, is that education. Many people are willing to get it, but they may not be early joiners. They want to see how this affects other people. They want to see the data. They want to see reasons why they should make a special trip to get vaccinated. That's very important. And again, it also speaks to the importance of everyday people in the community, regular citizens, who have been convinced by the science, who have made that choice to make it a priority, to make that case to someone else. People are motivated by what those around them, the people that they think highly of and respect, what they have to say about it. And when they hear the reasons for vaccination coming from those people in the community, that is going to motivate them to take that step to get vaccinated. And that's really what we're counting on now. Thanks for the question. Other questions?
Okay, no other questions? Are there any off-topic questions? This is the fun part of the show. Well, first off, the President's proposals that he outlined in his address to join Congress is a very bold agenda to rebuild infrastructure in this country, infrastructure that we need to rebuild to be competitive in the 21st century and to be competitive against our global competitors who are investing in world-class infrastructure. We need to do the same thing here. I am hopeful that we'll be able to build a bipartisan consensus to do what is important for our country. Infrastructure is clearly something that we should be able to build a bipartisan consensus on when it comes to fixing roads and bridges. I think we all agree that they need to be improved. But we also have to have a broader definition of infrastructure to include things like high-speed broadband internet. We have to look at the electrical grid. We should be looking at charging stations for electric vehicles as our domestic automakers continue to ramp up production in electric, seeing that as the future for mobility. So we're hopeful we can bring folks together on that, as well as other infrastructure to make sure that our children have first-class education, to make sure we can expand preschool. We know the power of getting students into preschool is something that will transform their lives for their entire life into adulthood. Later, I'm going to be with Muskegon Community College. The fact that we could have community college paid for students, so that's never an impediment for someone coming out of high school to get additional education necessary for their future. These are the kinds of investments we must make as a country. We're focused on making that happen. We hope to have bipartisan consensus. If not, there are ways that you can deal with the majority. It's a reconciliation process, which is an arcane rule of the Senate that allows just 51 votes to move legislation forward. There's still the possibility for that. And so that's going to be our focus right now.
Thank you, Senator.
Great. Thanks, everybody.